folks. The Field and Garden Podcast is honored to be partnering with the Growing for Market magazine. They have been publishing practical ideas and information for direct market flower and vegetable growers for over 31 years. All the articles are written by farmers who get their hands dirty and know what they're doing. The magazine is still on the same mission as when the Flower Farmer book author Len Basinski founded this magazine back in 1992 to connect growers with the best ideas from other growers. There is dedicated flower content in every magazine, a decade's worth of back issues, and over 1,600 archived articles from writers like Aaron Benzenkane, Gretel Adams, Pamela and Frank Arnowski, and Jonathan and Megan Leiss, all available on the website. With 10 new issues every year available on paper, digital, or both, you're guaranteed to find something to fine-tune your farm in growing for market. So if you do farmers markets, CSA, farm stands, pick your own, florist sales, or wholesaling, whether you're a commercial grower or you just want to grow like one, subscribe to Growing for Market for the nitty-gritty details of growing, marketing, and the business of local farming. And I have a special offer for you. Use the coupon code WORKSHOP to get 25% off any subscription to the original Farmer to Farmer magazine at growingformarket.com. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the Field and Garden Podcast. And it is your host, Friends in Flowers, Lisa Mason Ziegler, and super glad you've decided to drop in here with me today. And folks, I keep hearing, reading about, seeing people kind of beating themselves up, and I just wanted to kind of come in and drop the bomb that it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, so many things, businesses being built, becoming a great flower grower, just so many pieces of this pie of launching, starting, maintaining a cut flower business. And y'all, I have to tell you, Tuck's always at my feet, and he is this morning, and he is kind of wrestling with his dog bed. And so if you hear some odd noises, that's kind of what's happening here in the background. So before I dive into this, sharing the story for my flower farming career, I just want to say, if you're new here, welcome aboard, friends. If you want to learn more about the Gardener's Workshop and the work we're doing, that's the name of my business, which it didn't start out as the Gardener's Workshop almost 25 years ago. I started out as Ziegler Garden, and then as business grew and things happening, it became the Gardener's Workshop, and you will find under that umbrella over at thegardenersworkshop.com, friends, an online garden shop where I sell the same tools, flower seeds, and supplies that I use here on my farm and that you hear me speak about, teach about, and mention here on the podcast, as well as in books and in all the lives that I do. But in addition to that, we have an amazing library of online courses taught by cut flower farmer friends that are the leaders in our industry. And why is that significant? One of the things that I found to be so true and different about cut flower growers is that they aren't, they aren't people growing bedding plants. They aren't tree growers. Flower farmers are like a snapshot of the whole gardening process. They have to typically they're going from seed to bloom to harvest, which means they touch on almost every aspect of a garden. So whether you're a home gardener or a budding flower farmer, these people that teach these courses have found the quickest, the easiest, the most cost-effective way to do all of this in a nutshell. And so you'll find all those over at the Gardener's Workshop, as well as we have tons of resources from my blogs and videos. You can also see where you can connect with me each week. I do multiple live events where I love to answer your questions. And friends, we have so many different series here on the Field and Garden podcast. I am so honored to lead a team of folks that work at the Gardener's Workshop that not only are gardeners and flower farmers and folks that have the same love that you and I do. They're talented. And so we have Rhonda and I do Bug Talk. She has been a part of us for a long time now, and she and I are trying to help the world see about beneficial insects and how most bugs have an important job to do, whether that is helping eliminate a problem or their dinner for another bug, right? And then now we have also Seed Talk with Lane. Rhonda is our warehouse manager. Lane is our seed manager, and she and I are doing Seed Talk. So check out all these different episodes of the Field and Garden podcast, and I am just really honored to kind of pave the way, keeping the doors open and the lights on for all of these wonderful things to happen. And that just brings me to, if the day comes that you need to purchase supplies or if you need additional education, we appreciate if you consider thegardenersworkshop.com. That's what allows us, that part, the paid part of our business is what pays for all of the pieces of all of this free information that we provide, because we love doing it, friends. And your patronage of our business is what makes all that possible. So enough with all of that, right? So back to the story. It didn't happen overnight. So I launched my first commercial working cutting garden in 1998. It is currently 2022. You can do the math. 24 years, friends. And I will tell you that while the days were long, the journey surely seems short now that I'm sitting where I'm sitting. But, you know, I can't even say that the first 5 years were the hardest or the second 5 years because, as so interesting, I just did a discussion, which is actually a podcast called The Flower Farm and Life with Steve and Gretel Adams. And one of the things that we kind of wrapped the talk up with at the end was them sharing that 16 years in, they're still struggling with the same struggles that they had when they first started. And their message is, friends, we're all still suffering from these same things. Don't think it's something you're going to get over. If you're burnt out, you're exhausted, you're tired, you're still trying to figure it out, that just never ends. That's part of business ownership. That's the part that people don't tell you about. But I just want folks to realize we are all small business owners typically continue to struggle from the same challenges. The challenges just change perhaps in their perspective. And, you know, so one of the things I like to say in that I try to drill into my students' minds is that a business is always growing and changing and evolving, meaning you may have started out thinking that you're going to be a flower farmer selling at a farmer's market, and then you realize you don't want to work on the weekends, and so you start focusing your business to be a Monday through Friday deal, right? Well, even though maybe you've conquered growing some flowers and producing, When you change your business models, guess what? You're a beginner all over again. And that's the part that keeps us all united like a chain. While I may be 24 years in, I can't tell you how our business has evolved and changed through the years. And every time we add a new way or a new arm when we went to do this podcast, holy cow, who knew it could be so complicated? We were right back in the beginner seat, put the sign on top of the car, beginner driver. We were as novice as a brand new flower farmer. And so we're all facing these same challenges, and that's the way it should be, friends. I want to say that the day that you feel like you've conquered it all and it's easy sailing is, I don't think, ever going to happen. Because let's just say, now I'm not saying that you can't find the lane for your business, the lane you want to be in. Let's just say you're a young family. You're a mom staying home. You have young kids. Your passion is to do this, but you just can't figure out how in the world to do it. You can figure out how to do it if you stay in your lane. One of the ways that we've seen our students do it is, for instance, to say, all right, I know that this is not the time for me to go full force, but I want to keep my hands in it. They build some small bouquet subscription customer base and say, I'm just going to do 10 or 20 a week because I can do that and have young kids. And I can produce some income. I can continue my journey. And, no matter where you are, you can continue to stay in your lane. It's all about our choices, friends. And no matter where you are in life, you can find a way to do this or to do any business, right? Sorry, y'all, I totally lost my train of thought. Tucker is pinch biting his baby. I guess he thinks his little stuffed animal might have fleas. Anyway, totally just lost my whole train there. But I want to just say that looking at successful flower farmers, other people on social media, and thinking how good it is for them and how bad it is for you is not really true or realistic, right? So the journey can be really, really winding. I think back to all the different things that I tried, did. Oh my goodness, y'all. How much time and money did I waste, and tears for that fact. When I first started out, I wasn't producing tons of flowers like you see me producing now. Friends, I figured it out over years and years of practice. I can think back to when I first started. One of the things that I see people doing all the time is I see people spacing their flowers out so far apart in their garden. They're so afraid that the flowers need space. Friends, I have learned that I do it the complete opposite. I try to figure out how packed I can pack a bed. It all comes down to how much you can produce from a square foot. I am quick to tightly squeeze my plants in and only think, all right, next time I need to spread them out a little more when my plants scream uncle. When you stand back and look at a bed that is 4 or 5 weeks old, you should not be seeing miles of landscape fabric, which we don't even use landscape fabric. But I see a lot of people that do, that burn holes, and then they tend to plant everything at the same spacing to fit their landscape fabric. And in fact, you can grow so much closer to produce so many more flowers. This happened for me to learn. I went down the landscape rabbit hole years ago. Doesn't work for us here in the South like it does for some perhaps people in other regions with shorter growing periods, with not such aggressive weed pressure. But these are things that I had to learn from doing it. You cannot take a course, read a book, and come out at the end of that short period of time doing perhaps what I'm doing after 24 years of practicing. It just doesn't happen overnight. And the other part is how to produce perfectly pristine flowers from the field. Didn't happen overnight again, friends. Learning about restoring the natural order of your garden, learning when to harvest, how to harvest, stage to harvest, then how to handle them and package them and prepare them. All of that took time. It really took time, friends. So I'm just saying you have to go down the yellow brick road, right? I mean, The Wizard of Oz, that's one of our favorite childhood movies, who I still to this day have not watched the witch part. That was so scary to me with the monkeys, right? And you just have to go through the steps and figure. I mean, yes, you can definitely get educated, and that helps you come out on the other side, if you ask me. I have get a lot of mail and read a lot of comments. Yes, you can definitely DIY everything in life. But to DIY, meaning for you to sift and search and look instead of following the footsteps of people that have done it before you successfully, that have gone down the yellow brick road, and you to benefit from their experience, what that does is it stacks more flowers on your side of the fence that you're going to make it to the end, because a lot of people never make it to the end because they run out of steam, money, family support, because of just not getting it quick enough, right? So it takes practice, and it takes practice and being with educated guesses, I guess is what I'm trying to say to you. And friends, I did not sell all of my flowers out of the gate. I often speak of, oh my gosh, back before I built my business in what it came into after probably about 10 years, after I finally realized what I needed to do, late July and August, I bet I composted more than I sold. Now Tucker is looking for a ball. Y'all, he is like Dennis the Menace some days. And it's the day after we didn't have a big day. The day after we didn't have a big day on the farm, meaning he didn't get his adequate exercise. He is like into the mess. So when back the first 10 years when I was trying to find out what my niche was to fit my life, I wanted to work Monday through Friday, not 16 hours a day. I wanted to make money, and I wanted to sell flowers week after week to the same customers, so I didn't have to resell. The bad news is, friends, his ball is under the bed. Wait a minute. Tucker, there's a ball right over there under the nightstand. Right over there, buddy. He always wants the ball that's out of his reach, y'all. He is standing here staring at me, wagging his tail. It's tough, but anyway. I all of a sudden realized, like a business person, not like a flower farmer, not like seeing I stepped away from trying to do what I saw other people doing and figuring out, all right, all of a sudden one day the light bulb went on. I need to figure out what's going to work for me in my life, right? And I then went to building my business to sell my flowers week after week to the same people. And how could I do that being the field grower that I am? Friends, it didn't just overnight I didn't just out of the gate start selling all my flowers. You have to go down, we're just going to call it that yellow brick road. Look at all the trouble Dorothy and Toto and, the Scarecrow and all such problems that they faced, right? That's just part of this journey. And the other part that I find so interesting is I did not have this tidy beautiful garden that people seem to think that I have out of the gate. Weeds were they were what almost took me out. And until I learned how to prevent and manage them, which is part of becoming a commercial grower, right? But that did not happen overnight. I had to, oh my gosh. I think of some of the things that I did, how much time I wasted. Holy cow. You have to go down this journey, friends. And you know how we often see people put disclaimers up, no one was injured in the making of this commercial, or, especially like when they show people racing cars on TV, they'll say, this was a closed course and no one was injured. Well, friends, lots of flowers and dollar bills were lost and injured and killed in the process of me becoming a successful flower farmer and flower-based business successful entrepreneur. There you go. I killed a lot of flowers. I cried a lot. I was exhausted beyond belief. And that's what it took for me to get here. Now, I want to say that there are options for people now. We have tools for people to use to help avoid some of those. But you still have to get the shot, y'all. You still have to take the pill. You still have to go down that road. And I just wanted to come on here and say, because it's, that time of year, August, there's a lot of people talking about self-care and about the journey. And I totally agree with all of it. But I also agree that we self-induce a lot of I self-induced a lot of my suffering because I just wasn't focusing on the right things, especially back in the day. And I also have gotten really good about drawing the line in the sand. And I know that you people that have families, young families particularly, y'all are better at doing that than I was. Because, you have kids that you have to, their first seat, right? They should be. If they're not, their needs and wants and your commitment to them come first. And then you fit your business in. And that just makes me think of, if you have not followed Spring Forth Flower Farm, which is Jonathan and Megan Leiss in Raleigh, North Carolina, young family. He's a firefighter, off-farm job. They have an amazing flower farm where they have developed their entire flower farming business to fit their family, not fit their family into the flower farming business. And you can learn more about them on our website. They're instructors for us. And their business model is that they sell flowers only. Now Tucker has a squeaky. He is trying hard to get my attention, y'all. They only sell flowers in very early spring to very early summer, the highest demand, so that they can spend the summer with their kids, growing vegetables, homesteading, and then they kick back into gear in the fall, planting all the cool flowers as well as some bulbs. And they only have a half-acre flower production. It's an amazing story. That is where I just feel like people can really, really focus. That is a model that if I was restarting, if I had to go all over again, that is a model that I would definitely really consider. So friends, I want to say again, many flowers and many dollar bills were lost, injured, and killed in the process of me getting to where I am. And here you go. So I just want to also just give a kind of a farm check-in for the month of, this will be September when you hear this. I think actually that's not true. I think it'll be the end of August, right on the cusp of the early September. And what am I doing on my farm? In the flower farming world for production, we have cool flowers, transplants in the starting. We are not direct seeding. We don't start planting transplants nor seeds until like the 1st of October, but we do have our transplants started. September for me is the month of me preparing the way for cool flowers, meaning we are tearing down summer beds strategically. If I did my job right, which I didn't this year, back in when I was planning my garden for this season back in January, I should have had my plan laid out that all of my summer plantings were as such that there should be a large block of plants that I should be able to go out into this week and mow it all, because the rest of my garden has the newly coming in summer blooms, meaning I don't feel like I need to keep this particular cool flower for this fall planting. Those flowers I don't need right now for my business. I can go out and mow them, and I do think there is a space that I've done that with, but I didn't consider that that's not the best winter growing space. You know what I mean? To start my cool flowers in. So that's where I'm at right now, is I'm right there with you of trying to figure out where in the world am I going to start, because I want to get those crops extinguished. I want to get some compost on those beds perhaps, and start the process, because our transplanted beds will get the Bio 360 film on them. That's the biodegradable film that gives you all the benefits of plastic, but it's totally biodegradable. It's made out of a corn byproduct that is digestible for your soil. So those beds have to be on their way. And then I am doing something cool this year. We have a surplus of some really great compost topsoil mix that we're going to top our direct seeded beds with, which is in our no-till area. And so we have to get those beds, the plants, the crops pulled out. We'll pull those crops out by the roots, and then we will top dress those beds with this amazing topsoil compost mix that we made, and put down 2 inches of that'll work as mulch. But that's what we're going to direct seed into this fall for our direct seeded beds. So September is the month of making way for the cool flower beds. And just to say, those direct seeded beds that we're going to actually top dress, we will make those beds and then immediately cover them with silage tarps that will prevent any weeds from sprouting and extinguish any weeds that are there. So we can do that immediately now, even though we're not going to be planting them for 4 to 5 weeks. That kind of does what flame weeding. Here comes Tucker, y'all. He is now standing right over. Don't hit the phone, boy. So cool flowers is being, we are heading into the cool flower, making the way for them. And the other time this is leaf. Y'all hear him? He's like a pork wart. That's what I call him. Let me move my phone. All right, Tuck. You're all right, boy. Yes, I love you too. So we are thinking about how are we going to be gathering the volume of leaves that we need to put in our pathways, because you all know that's the way that I prepare my fall planted garden beds. The pathways get leaves in them because leaves are plentifully available. It adds tons of mass. It winters over so many beneficial insects in it. So I'm doing all this planning, and they don't start fall until about November. So I have to think about what are we going to do? How are we going to do that? So that's kind of where we are right now. But friends, I did not get here overnight. If you're enjoying my podcast, it would help me so much if you drop a review on whatever platform you listen to, and it just helps us so very, very much. And I am just really happy to say that we're heading into fall, which is the enrollment period for my course, Jenny Loves Flower, Farmer Florist School, Ellen Frost's Florist School, which is really about local sourcing, how to grow your business using locally sourced flowers. Y'all, we want Ellen teaching our customers how and why they should be sourcing local flowers. And then Gretel and Steve's course, Grow and Cut Flowers in Hoop and Greenhouses, which is such a deep and wide course. All of those enrollments only open once a year for 5 days, and we're heading into enrollment period. And if you want to get on the wait list, visit thegardenersworkshop.com. You go to the individual pages for those courses that you're interested in and sign up. And that just means that we won't let you miss enrollment, as well as we'll send you some great resources for you to get a taste of their teaching. And friends, we need more domestic cut flower growers. People seem to think there's too many, but that is not in fact true. As long as we're importing billions of dollars of flowers from distant lands, which was not the case just a few decades ago, there is plenty of room. The key word is professional, and people tapping in to learning how to meet with those people that are using flowers day after day, that are buying all those imports. I could go on for another hour about that, folks. So, till we meet again, friends, ciao. I have another sweet note, and I really want to just highlight how getting instruction and becoming a part of a community of like-minded people with you boosts your confidence. Really, friends, that's what holds us back. It's not that we might not know the exact steps that we need to follow. It's having the confidence to tackle and learn what those are. And this is what Alicia wrote to us. Lisa, and I'm only going to read you some excerpts from her. I want to wholeheartedly thank you for all you have taught me and everyone. My husband says it all the time. I wished we could go to Lisa's farm so I could shake her hand and tell her thank you for all that she has given you. I want to say thank you, and to tell anyone that may be struggling, trust Lisa's process and her words. And I totally understand, y'all, how many voices are out there now. And so I appreciate it when our students share their experience in this way. And so those are kind words from Alicia, and thank you so much for writing them.